In this video, we're going to talk about how you actually need to eat more to finally lose weight and break out of your plateaus. My name is Dominic, and I've helped hundreds of men and women lose 20 to 40 pounds in 90 days or less by actually eating more and resetting their metabolisms to make sure that they're able to have the most impact. Now look, have you ever felt stuck in your weight loss journey? You feel like you're eating less, you're working out more, but the scale just refuses to budge. This is where the concept of metabolic adaptation actually comes into play. Metabolic adaptation is a natural process where your body adjusts to the food you eat and the energy you expend. But don't worry, today we're going to break down how you can outsmart this process, eat more food, and still achieve your fat loss goals. Metabolic adaptation, also known as adaptive thermogenesis, is your body's survival mechanism. So when you constantly or consistently eat fewer calories than you're burning, your metabolism slows down in order to conserve energy. It's a survival feature that your body built in over time because it was not always feast, it was usually famine. And so when you're trying to lose weight in 2025 and we're surrounded by all of these highly processed food, and there's food everywhere, it makes fat loss incredibly hard. And biologically, your body's reducing the amount of calories that you're burning during daily activities. Your hormones, like leptin, which regulates your hunger and energy balance, decreases, and then your resting metabolic rate, which is also known as your RMR, this is the energy your body uses at rest, actually slows down. So in short, your body ends up working against you rather than for you when it senses that you've been in a calorie deficit for way too long. And it's not your fault or a lack of willpower, it's really just biology trying to protect you from starving. And we've evolved over decades and hundreds of years to do this. Now, this is the problem with chronic dieting. Chronic dieting is one of the biggest culprits behind metabolic adaptation. You might start in a calorie deficit and things are going great. You're losing weight, you might start with a calorie deficit and initially you see some results and you think it's the greatest thing. The pounds are dropping, your clothes are fitting better, but over time your progress stalls, plateaus, and you get stuck. Why? Because your body has adapted. The longer you stay in that calorie deficit, the more your body's going to adjust by burning fewer calories. And this often leads to a vicious cycle of needing to cut more, even further, and getting down to an unsustainable caloric amount. And the results are just hard to achieve. And the second you have an off week or an off meal that's really calorie heavy, you put on weight. And to top it all off, it's not just physical. Chronic dieting can take a toll on your mental health. Can make you incredibly frustrated. It can also lead to just binge eating and an unhealthy relationship with food. And the constant restriction and feeling like you can't eat something, it just creates this cycle that feels impossible to break. Eating less isn't always the answer. Sometimes, oftentimes, especially people that I work with, you need to eat more strategically in order to reset your metabolism and reignite your fat loss. And here's how you outsmart metabolic adaptation. Through metabolic priming. Metabolic priming is one of the most effective strategies to combat metabolic adaptation. It's what I use with all of my clients that I work with. It involves gradually increasing your calories over time, over weeks or months, to boost your metabolism and get it back to a place where it's working for you and not against you. And you want to do this gradually so you don't gain significant body fat or weight. And here's how that works. We usually start by adding 50 to 100 calories a day to your calorie intake. So for example, if you're eating 1,200 calories a day, for a week, we would bump you up to 1,300 and leave you there, see how your body responds, track your weight, track your waist, and see just energy levels overall and how you're feeling. And then from there, assuming you respond appropriately, we continue to gradually increase calories. So we go from 1,300 up to 1,400 and so on and so on. And we do that until we get to a place where we feel like we have enough of a calorie bank to pull from in order to actually lose fat. And you're going to want to get to a place where you can cut 700 to 1,000 calories daily and still feel good in terms of the amount of food that you're eating, because that's the amount it's going to take to lose body fat over time. And while we're doing this, we focus on quality of food, not just quantity. So when we're increasing our food take, it's really important to get it from whole natural foods and prioritize nutrient dense foods so that we're not just eating junk and highly processed foods that's not filling us up. So think about things like lean proteins, healthy fats, complex carbs, those kind of foods that fuel your body without causing dramatic blood spikes or excess fat storage. Protein, for example, is just a powerhouse macro. It's highly thermic, so as you eat it, your body requires much more energy to digest protein than it does to digest like fats or carbs. So you want to include foods like chicken, beef, eggs, fish, or even plant proteins, sources like that in your meals to maximize the thermic effect. And then we also want to focus on strength training and muscle building. Building muscle is one of the best ways to combat metabolic adaptation. Muscle tissue burns much more calories at rest than fat tissues. So this means, generally speaking, the more muscle you have on your body, the higher your resting metabolism is going to be, your RMR. So it's very important to incorporate resistance training into your fitness routine at least 2 to 3 times a week. And you want to focus on compound movements like squats, deadlift, and bench presses. These are exercises that work multiple muscle groups at a time. They stimulate much more muscle growth than isolated movements, so you get a lot more bang for your buck. How do I know if I need to reset my metabolism? And how do you know if your metabolic adaptation is holding you back? Look for these signs. First, you're eating very few calories, but you're not losing weight, so you've definitely plateaued. You're feeling tired, sluggish, irritable, and just constantly hungry. That's another sign. The third sign is your workouts just suck. They feel harder than usual, and you're just not making any progress. And lastly, if you're experiencing hormonal imbalances, irregular menstrual cycles for females, or low energy levels just for men or women, if you notice these symptoms, it's definitely signs that you're overdoing it with the calorie restriction. So you need to focus on shifting to eating more and eating smarter. And one of the biggest challenges people face when going to eat more or combating metabolic adaptation is just the fear of eating more in general. So it's ingrained in us to think to lose weight, we need to just cut calories, but you can't continue to cut and cut for weight loss. It's not always the answer. The truth is you need to feed your body properly, and a lot of times you need to feed it more and good quality food to function optimally. So start by just reframing your mindset. Instead of seeing food as the enemy, you really want to see it as fuel. So each bite that you're taking, that's just nutrients and fuel that your body needs to perform, recover, and just thrive. And when you're nourishing your body, it rewards you with higher energy levels, more strength, just better results over time. So practically, how do we apply this knowledge? Here's how to put it into action. First, we want to assess your calorie intake. So I always take my clients and we take 3 to 5 days. We see where we're at calorie-wise. So we want to track every single thing. This is going to give us a really good baseline on the amount that we're eating. And then we're going to begin to reverse the amount of calories that we're eating. So we're going to eat more, especially if we've been in a deficit for a long time. And like I said earlier, we're going to increase this by 50 to 100 calories a day. We're going to incorporate strength training to make sure that that additional food that we're eating goes to building muscle. This is going to help increase our metabolic rate. And again, we're going to focus on nutrient-dense foods to help with our metabolic function and just overall health. And it's really important just to be patient. You know, this process takes time. The results are worth it. You're getting your body to a place where this is going to just be a lifestyle. You can integrate it into what you're doing. It's not just another fad diet that's going to set you up for failure. We're not going for short-term success or short-term fat loss here. This is just long-term sustained success so that you can eat however you really want to and have a higher metabolism that's going to be burning fat for you in the background. So when you go out to eat or you go to events and you have off meals that are higher calories, you're not putting on weight right away. You're creating a sustainable lifestyle that's going to support your goals long-term. So metabolic adaptation is a natural process, but it doesn't have to be your downfall. By understanding how your body works, how to combat it, and applying the strategies that we talked about in this video, you can reset your metabolism, you can eat more food, and still lose weight. And look, if you want my help getting you there faster without all the pitfalls or wasting months and months or years getting you there. Click the link down below to schedule a call with me and my team to see how we can get you there faster.